I wasn't buried in the ground, but under doubt, shame, fear, and silence. I was alive, walking, talking, breathing, but inside, I felt completely gone. I'd wake up, staring at the ceiling, haunted by a feeling that I was made for something more, but chained to nothing at all. Everyone around me seemed to be moving so fast, and I couldn't even move. I wanted to scream, but the words stayed trapped in my chest. They say you're stronger than you think. But I didn't feel strong. I felt like I was breaking, little by little, dream by dream. No one talks about the guilt, the quiet shame of knowing you're not doing enough. That voice inside that whispers, you're wasting time, wasting your life. And you believe it, but instead of acting, you scroll, you sit, you escape, because fear doesn't always shout. It whispers. Lies that sound like truth, telling you you're not ready, that you'll fail, that you're not like them, that you'll never make it. So you wait for the right time, the right mood, the right sign, but nothing shows up. Just the slow decay of everything you could have been. Dreams aren't killed by knives. They're killed by comfort, by distractions, by likes and comparisons. You're drowning in noise, yet you feel invisible, connected to thousands, but lonelier than ever. Posting smiles that don't match the tears you cry in private. Chasing money, bodies, fame, but never taught how to sit alone, to face your own mind, and make peace with it. You try to change. You do well for a few days, then you fall, and every fall feels heavier. Not because you're weak, but because now you carry the weight of feeling like a failure too. But let me tell you something. Falling doesn't mean it's over. That moment, that's the beginning. That's the spark of something deep and real, something unshakable. There's a fire in you. You may not feel it yet, but it's there. It doesn't shout. It waits, like a silent warrior, patient, still, ready. You think you're weak? No, you're just distracted, buried under noise, wounds, overstimulation. But your core, that's steel. You've just forgotten how strong it is, because pain taught you to flinch. But even rivers shape stone, not by force, but by persistence. Somewhere deep down, you remember who you were supposed to be. Calm, steady, a quiet warrior, not loud, not flashy, but unstoppable when it counts. You weren't made to chase comfort. You were built to carry weight, to suffer with meaning, to rise again and again, to stare fear in the face and not blink. One night you'll sit alone, no lights, no music, no distractions, just your thoughts, and they'll hit you. Every regret, every failure, every broken promise, it'll hurt. You might cry, you might scream, you might want to give up, but that moment, that's the doorway. The moment everything false breaks, and what's real begins to surface. Strength isn't about never crying. Strength is crying, and still standing. It's facing your shame, owning your pain, and saying, I'm not scared of you anymore. That's when the shift happens. Not in your body or your bank account, but in your soul. A quiet fire builds, not loud like rage, but calm like truth, strong like stone, and it whispers, I'm still here. There was a man once who sat in silence for days. People called him lazy, but he was at war inside. Every time a voice said, you're nothing, he answered, maybe, but I'm not done. When the past said, you're broken, he said, then I'll rise broken. He didn't wait for the storm to pass. He became the one who could walk through it. Real strength isn't in lifting weights. It's in carrying your pain without letting it destroy you. It's being like a mountain, calm, still, unmoved by doubt or fear, because it knows what it is. And deep down, you do too. You just forgot. So let me speak to the part of you that's tired, that says I've tried everything, that whispers, I don't feel like it today, that moans, it's too hard. Lock that part away, silence it, and unleash the beast. The real you doesn't negotiate with weakness. The real you takes action. No motivation, you do it anyway. No support, you move anyway. Afraid, you go forward anyway. Discipline beats fear. Purpose beats pain. And you are stronger than you think. Let them doubt you. Let them laugh. Let them walk away. Good. One day they'll look at what you've built and realize they were watching a god learn to bleed. Why not you? You've got the scars. You've felt the pain. You've tasted failure. That's what makes you qualified. That's what makes your story powerful. You're not perfect. You're real. You've fallen, but you're still here. And that matters. That means you can grow. You can change. You can become everything they said you couldn't. Everything you thought you couldn't. The only thing that can stop you is giving up. So don't. Get up. Right now. The darkness doesn't care about your excuses. Pain doesn't make deals. So why are you still down? Why are you still waiting? No one's coming to save you. No one's coming to push you. You are the push. You are the storm. You are the damn comeback story. The world keeps spinning while you lie there. Time doesn't pause for fear or doubt or delay. You're not too late. You're not too far gone. You're just one decision away. Remember who you were before the world told you who to be? Before they convinced you that settling was good enough? Before you started believing that this life of mediocrity, of going through the motions, was all there is? One more breath. One more step. One more hour of commitment. That's what separates staying broken from becoming unbreakable. That's the difference between letting another day pass you by and stepping into your rebirth. Every morning, two forces rise in you. One whispers surrender, the other roars strength. The one that wins, it's the one you feed. You weren't born soft. You weren't made to fit in or blend into the background. You were born to break chains, to tear down excuses, to rebuild from the ashes. You come from survivors, people who lived through plagues, wars, heartbreak, and hunger, just so you could exist. Their strength runs through your blood. That resilience is your legacy. Their spirit lives in you. Every tear you've cried, let it fuel you. Every no you've heard, let it burn in your chest. Every night you spent alone, those weren't empty hours. They were your forge. The fire that almost destroyed you. Step into it. Own it. Let it transform you. What feels impossible today will be weightless tomorrow. The pain you're avoiding, that's your medicine. The discomfort you fear, that's your teacher. You don't need more time. You need more fire. You don't need permission. You need to believe in what you're becoming. When your body screams to quit, let your mind whisper just one more. When your past says you can't, let your soul shout, watch me. You are becoming fire. You are becoming unstoppable. The universe doesn't reward wishes or fantasies. It bows to the relentless, to the ones who don't break. Your path, your struggle, your scars, they're not just your story. They're the light someone else will need when their world falls apart. This moment right now is where excuses go to die, where legends are born. This breath is where the old you fades, and the real you takes over. And when they ask you how you did it, you'll smile and say, I never stopped. Not when it hurt. Not when it was lonely. Not when nobody believed. You kept moving. One breath, one heartbeat, one relentless second at a time, until what seemed impossible became your new reality. Until you became a force no one could ignore. You weren't born by accident. You weren't placed here to scroll, to copy, to obey. You were born with a mission. That fire you felt as a kid, the one that whispered you're different, you're meant for more, that voice is still in you. You just stopped listening. School tamed it, comfort smothered it, fear buried it, and now you walk through life with a heavy heart, not because you're weak, but because you're wasting strength you haven't even tapped into yet. You know there's something you're supposed to build, something you're meant to become. A mission, a legacy, a name carved into history. Your name. And all that pain, it wasn't random, it was training. Nothing was by accident. Every tear had purpose. Every heartbreak was timed. Every doubt, every disappointment, it was all preparing you for this moment. The betrayals, they weren't rejection, they were redirection. The people who left, they weren't abandoning you. They were clearing space for your transformation. The loss, the nights of crying alone, the seasons of confusion, those weren't just moments, they were initiations, trials, pressure designed to show you who you really are. You weren't being punished, you were being forged, like steel, heated, hammered, cooled, and reshaped again and again, until what was once ordinary became something unbreakable. That's your journey. Every hit, every doubt, every crash, it wasn't to destroy you. It was to craft you into something extraordinary. You're not broken. You're built differently. Others would have crumbled under what you carry every day. They haven't lived your battles. They don't see that your scars are armor. What they hear as a tremble in your voice is actually restrained thunder, because only those who've bled can lead. Real leadership doesn't come from titles. It comes from wounds that turned into wisdom, from nights spent questioning everything and still rising. You've learned darkness well enough to guide others through it. Your empathy wasn't taught. It was carved into you by nights you barely survived. You recognize pain behind smiles. You hear the silence behind someone's brave face. You know what to say, because you once needed someone to say it to you. And now you are that someone. You don't rise by avoiding pain. You rise by turning it into power. That's the truth. Most people will never understand. They seek ways around the struggle, while you've learned to walk through it. They numb. You feel. They run, you endure. You've learned to pull meaning out of misery, to find the cure inside the poison. Your transformation wasn't smooth. It wasn't soft. It was survival. Necessary. You walked through fire and came back not burned, but blazing. This is how legends are born. Not from privilege. Not from ease. From people who should have given up, but didn't. From people like you who stopped asking, "Why me?" and started declaring, "Why not me?" You didn't get destroyed by the fire. You became it. The deepest wounds are now your brightest lights. The heaviest burdens made your shoulders unshakable. And your losses, they gave you purpose so powerful, it can't be silenced. That's your duty. That's your honor. That's your purpose. When others drown in their pain, you remind them of their power. When all they see are their scars, you point to their strength. When they're trapped in the rearview mirror of their past, you hand them a vision of the future. You don't just survive, you alchemize. You transform trauma into truth. You transcend limits, and in doing so, you don't just heal. You become the healer, the one the world didn't know it needed. That's your duty. That's your honor. That's your purpose. There comes a moment, not tomorrow, now, where you bury the old version of yourself, the coward, the excuse maker, the voice whispering, "Not yet." Play it safe. Fit in. Dig the grave. Throw in the fear. Throw in the shame. Say it out loud. I am not that man anymore. And from that dirt you rise. Not improved. Reborn. Not better. Brand new. You don't need permission. You don't need timing. You don't need a round of applause. What you need is a restart. A brutal, honest, courageous restart. The world is full of dreamers, waiting for stars to align, for self-doubt to vanish, for someone to see them, validate them, believe in them. They'll be waiting forever, because the universe does not reward hesitation. It doesn't honor potential. It bows to those who move, who act, who leap, scared, shaking, uncertain, and do it anyway. Fear is not your enemy. It's your compass. The greater the fear, the louder the signal. This matters. That voice telling you all the reasons you'll fail, it's not protection. It's theft. It's stealing your growth, your calling, your life. Start anyway. Start awkward. Start unsure. Start with trembling hands and a voice that cracks. Just start. The first version will be ugly. Let it. The first steps will be awkward. Embrace it. Because perfection is a coffin. And you weren't made for cemeteries. You were made for cathedrals. You rise by repeating, by rebuilding, by falling 7 times and standing up 8. Build when no one sees. Run when no one cheers. Fight when no one believes. The crowd only shows up when you've already earned the victory lap. But the real work, the real growth, it happens in silence, in solitude, in the unseen war between comfort and discipline. That's the arena where character is carved. This is where legends are made, not in talent, in tenacity, not in status, in sweat, not when you're ready, when you refuse to stay still. The heroes you admire weren't chosen, they chose themselves. They lunged forward when everything inside them screamed to retreat, and so can you. If you think you're not chosen, choose yourself. Stop waiting for an invitation that will never come. Stop searching for external validation. You're the validator. Destiny isn't handed to you. You claim it. You declare it. You become it. Even if your voice shakes. The path to greatness is empty at the start, because few dare to walk it. But you've waited long enough. You've suffered long enough. It's time. Let your pain become purpose. Let the wounds of yesterday become the wisdom of today. Let every rejection, every failure, every sleepless night become fuel. Because greatness was never about avoiding pain. It was about transcending it. Your moment isn't someday. It's now. Right now. In the choice you make in this breath. One day you'll look back on today and whisper, "Hey, that was the day everything changed." The day you stopped shrinking. The day you faced the voice of doubt and said, "Not today." The day you decided you were stronger than the story you were stuck in. And when your children ask you, "Dad, how did you become you?" You'll look them in the eye and say, "Because I refused to stay small. Because I chose fire over fear. Because I fought like hell when the world wanted me silent." This isn't about money. This isn't even about success. This is about becoming a living symbol of what's possible. A lighthouse, a storm, a king. When they ask, "Who the hell is that?" the answer will be, "That's the one who didn't quit. That's the storm. That's the king."